How about that? Does that work? Can you all see me now? How's that? Thumbs up if you can see me. Little thumbs up if you can see me. I'm not Quincy, man. Where's your thumb and where's your clothes? Waiting for you. Okay, I can tell by your laughter, Quincy, that you're there. Hello to everybody else. How you all doing? Welcome along. It's Thursday again. Look at all this hair I've got on my head. Where on earth has that come from? I ain't got a clue. What's been going on in your world this week, guys? Let me know. If you can hear me, put a little comment in the box. Let me know that you're there. I can already see that we've got a few people. Big hello to Dawn, Rhiannon, of course, Steph, Nick, Rachel. Wow, loads of people turning up there. Pete and your question marks, I think we've got that sorted out. Nick Jones, thank you for saying yay. As usual, we're looking for your top tips on mental well-being and what you're doing to stay alive, or in Dylan's case, who's just joined us, what you're doing to stay awake, mate, because Dylan is normally asleep at 8:30. So do send me in your top tips for well-being. Also, want to know what your joke of the week is. What is the best joke you've heard ever? If you want to put that in there. Let's keep it clean, though, because obviously there's a family audience. Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. Story of the week, highlight of your week, anything you've done this week to help you get through the lockdown and everything that goes with it. Do put your name in the box. Let us know that you're there. Give you a shout out. We've got Tasha back this week, sitting downstairs, sending messages. So if you do get I love yous or big hugs and kisses, you know that Tasha is back on form, back on duty. Looking for your best joke. I'm not sure that this one is gonna get there. Why did the grasshopper go to the doctors? He kept feeling jumpy. Come on, mate. That's a good joke. I know that Quincy and Pete both will have phenomenal jokes waiting for us. If you've got any questions that you want to ask the guys, then do put them in the box. We'll answer them. We're talking all things well-being, how you're surviving. We're concentrating a little bit on what it's like to be a dad this week as well. So I'm hoping that we get a bit of feedback from both men, women, and however you choose to define yourself. Let us know. Without much further ado, I'm going to bring on the man himself. This guy is amazing. Any of you who've ever seen Quincy on stage will know that he's a very funny guy. He has a radio show that he does a couple of days a week. He does a Friday Night Live that he'll tell us about. He's a very funny guy. But to me, those of you who know me will know that I'm very black and white in how I see things. And I judge people by the company they keep. And yeah, especially men, how they are with their kids. And this guy, to me, is one of the best examples of fatherhood that I've ever known. Truly amazing story that he's got that I'm hoping that he will share with us. Not just a funny guy, but a mentor and a role model. So if you can all get ready and put your thumbs up, say your big hellos, give a big warm welcome to the Cockney Prince, to Quincy.
What's going on, mate? How are you?
Well, I've got clothes on, mate. What's happened?
Yeah.
You're represented. What's going on?
This is when I get the rest of my wages and the gigs start coming in, I can afford some sleeves.
That's going to be a little while, mate.
I heard there's a few birds in your stream, so I thought myself, let me just.
We have men and women and people who define themselves as they choose to.
I thought, let me just pop that in the gym and it will
get it straight in there, mate.
Flex out now.
Look at you trying to show off the lean muscles.
I ain't been to the gym for God knows how long, you know what I mean? But we're here now. We're here.
Well, that's it. How you coping with lockdown, mate?
So, how am I coping with lockdown? I would say that I've kept myself busy. It started off a bit surreal for me. And like yourself and most of our fellow comedians had to adjust to the way of living and try to find other incomes of earning money without having the luxuries of staying in a 5-star Formula 28 hotels and that.
Shared bathroom,
shared bathroom, shared toilets, having a bar of soap the size of a SIM card, you know what I mean? So all those kind of luxuries. But yeah, it was very surreal at first, and I basically was lucky enough that I used to DJ before I'd done comedy, and I've done radio, which I continued from that every now and again when I was doing the shows. So I just put myself into my radio shows, and at first it was just playing music because I thought, oh, this will be over in a couple of months. Give a couple of months, you know what I mean? It'll be over. I'll be back to gigging. And I was just playing music. I was on I've never used, in the space of 3 months, I mean, I think I've used Facebook Live, Instagram Live so many times. It was just literally like twice a day, and just to keep my face out and keep myself busy. But as time went on, you realise this is in for the long haul. So I've got to adjust my career, and I've got to try to see how I can make money. But most importantly for us, keep ourselves relevant. You know what I mean? So when we do go back, God willing.
Terrible. Pete, right? Let me tell you, bro. Quincy, although he's
I know what it is.
Technically,
I know what it was now.
Oh, now you know.
I apologise,
cute smile with
Pete.
me.
I apologise, Pete. I'm sorry. I know what it was now.
See, what about the British? What about the great British public? What about the people all around the world who've tuned into this?
Thousands and thousands watching us.
Millions. It's Times Square. They're watching right now.
Millions. It's like the World Cup.
Yeah, except my mate was saying, innit?
It was quite funny watching you doing PowerPoint while you were talking to me.
Mate, I was applying for jobs. I was trying to get work. Right, but you know what it is, though? Because I just felt for the people out there listening. Because for me, as a dad, I don't get to hear my own voice very often. So I didn't even know for me.
Ask your mother.
Quincy, tell us, please, if you don't mind. Because like Pete, from what I know of Pete, is that you and Charlotte seem very tight. You very supportive. Got great kids. Quincy's story is slightly different. Raised kids on his own, mostly, didn't you?
Well done.
Yeah. From what age were the kids when you started raising them on your own?
3 and 1, or 1 and 3. Yeah.
Well, we can work it out both ways, mate. You ain't got to explain 3 and 1 to us.
Yeah. If it was Lionel Richie.
How did you get on with it? How hard was that when you had a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old on your own?
Well, this is the thing. I raised them, but I had great family support. So if it wasn't for my family and both of my families, that's Judy's family as well. I always include him. I wouldn't be able to do the career I'm in. But it was for me, it wasn't like a big transition of, oh, what am I going to do now? Because me and the mum were together anyway, and we were literally, it was just, I've just got to get up an hour earlier and sort out. The only thing which I said I had to adjust for myself, because you naturally will find that when the mum and dad are raising the children, each has a role. So there's always a nurturer, there's the disciplinary, so to speak. And I done a lot of laddie stuff with my boys, so going to the park, and it was that thing of when they do something, I had to think, I can't just go and be daddy and like, don't do that again, go to your room. Because I have to think to myself right now, well, I'll have to explain my reasons why I've punished them or told them off. You know what I mean? So they're getting 2 sides of me. So as I did in my show tonight, I had to, more of a case, I had to find the feminine within. That was probably the most adjusting side of it that I had to do.
But you, like, mate, it's everybody who knows you knows your story. Are you happy to say why you was?
Yeah, my partner passed away in '96. Basically, she had an operation and it just went wrong, and she had a massive heart attack, and that was it. That was the story. She went in there into the hospital. She used to have very thin arteries. There's a name for it I can't pronounce. And she was one of the first of people to have the new balloon treatment to widen the arteries. And I'll never forget, before we were dating, when we was dating, I never forget the conversation we had at the hospital when the nurse, This is why I love the Irish. Yeah, the Irish is just when I
Well,
read.
not enough to mute your microphone.
It's not muted. Oh, it's easy. Let me check it. The Irish, and I'm talking not remixed, like straight, like freshies.
Proper.
Yeah, she was she explained to myself and Judith that because of her arteries were very small, and it wasn't taking the blood flowing, that there could be a possibility that I could come home from work and see her dead. Right, as she said it in, she goes, "Don't be surprised if you don't. If you're coming one morning, and she's just laying there." I was like, "What?"
Yeah, that's pretty straight.
I was like, did she just? She said, "Yeah, because the archery." And she went on, but it was the. Don't be surprised when you come home from work and you just see her laying there. And I was like,
yeah, that's old school talking.
She was old school.
And so then you had to raise a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old on your own. And you're a man, you know, like there's no kind of, like you said, you have to find the feminine within. Yeah, you're a bloke. So like, but you had support from the family. That's good. But how did you cope then? When they're in bed, you're on your own. You think, well, this is my life for the next X amount of years.
I suppose adrenaline, and momentum. I had a whole new level of respect for women then. I did anyway, but I had a whole new level of respect for them. Do you know what? It's just gonna.
You okay?
Yeah, sorry. No. I had a whole new level because I didn't get to do no thinking. But by the time I sorted out dinner and bathed and put them to bed and do all the stories, I was too knackered to grieve. Are you grieving? Mate, I'm tired. I was like, really? You done this every day? Like, but I tell you when it did hit me, I put my boys to bed and my oldest son came into the room. And this was about 6-7 months on. And he said to me, where's mummy? That done me. That done me. I think that's when and he said it like a little kid. And he slept in bed with me that night.
Wow.
And I just cried. And I tried to hide it, but I just cried.
That's hard. That's tough. And knowing then that the next morning you've still got to get up and do it all again.
No, I'll give him his dues. He was considerate. Done it on a Friday. So I know it's called a Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday morning off.
Yes, considerate. So.
Oh mate.
Yeah, no, but
Pete, did you find it difficult, Pete? But did you have to fight your way in if you've got a partner, or do you think it's easier if you're in a relationship than as a single dad, or is it its own challenges?
I mean, obviously, I can't possibly relate to what Quincy's gone through, but what I mean, it is a team. It is a team job bringing kids up. I mean, they say it takes a village to raise a child, don't they?
Yeah.
And luckily, we've got family close to us, and we always had help whenever we needed it. Really, we generally brought our kids up by the seat of our pants. I suppose that's the best way to describe it. It was like kind of from a day-to-day basis, because of the nature of my work and Charlotte's work, we never knew what we were doing the next day, so we just kind of like bimbled through life and just did our best. Also, a little tip that we always had was that we always acted as a team. So if someone made a decision, that was the decision. That was, you couldn't go, oh, Dad, Mum said I can do this. Can I? No, that's what Mum said. That's what Mum said. Or if I made a decision, Charlotte would say, no, if Dad said that, that's it. And then we didn't show, drop any face to the kids. We had to show the united front afterwards. We'd talk, go, well, maybe you were a bit unfair, or maybe we should have done that. But we never in front of the kids, because it was just like we showed a united front. Never show the weakness, because they'll be all over you. And that kind of reinforced each other. Another thing I used to do was, if one of the kids was lippy to the missus, I wouldn't say, don't talk to your wife, or don't talk to your mother like that. I used to say, don't talk to my wife like that. Because what you're doing is, it's like if someone spoke to your missus like that in a pub, you'd go, "Don't talk to my wife like that." You wouldn't say, "Don't talk to your mother."
Yeah.
And it kind of made it suddenly it's my fight because you're having a go at my missus, not your mother, my missus. And that was so that was kind of like backed up the.
Can I say something, Pete? That is quite.
Go on.
That is a very clever way how you went about that, because yours. I'm assuming it's your son. It's just,
well, that daughter and the daughter, she's probably worse.
All right. So, but from a male point of view, when you are saying, because it's like you're doing two things. One, you're confusing the hell out of that child. Yeah, good enough.
Yeah, get in there.
And secondly, you're showing them how important their mum is to you.
Yes, exactly.
And that is. Do you know what? That's good. I might give some advice.
It's a really simple thing to do, but that's it. It's don't talk to my wife like that. Yeah. And they'd go, what? Well, hang on a second. This row's gone in a different direction.
I'll be going, go on, tell her. Go on. I wouldn't speak to you like that. Go on. In fact, if we was having an argument, I'm going to get one of the kids out of bed. Come, get downstairs. But it's hard because, obviously, Quincy, you're on your own, and it's a devastating way to be on your own. But then that's your path. And like we've said before, you've come through it and you've raised two great lads. Pete, your path is with a partner. You've raised two great kids through it. But who is there for you, for us, right? Because my baby boy is like 27, and I remember taking him to playgroup, and there was no men there. There was just
I was the same. I did the same. I would turn up and I'd be the weird bloke with the kid. It's like
they'd all go, "Oh, let me help you." You want to change your nappy? And they'd all just think like you was like something wrong with you. You couldn't do it. You couldn't have that natural skills.
No, I had a situation like that where I took my daughter to a ballet thing. She used to do ballet when she was like 2 or something like that, doing this ballet show, and of course I brought her along, and of course I couldn't go in and help her get changed because it was all the mums and other little girls and stuff like that. So it was just kind of luckily there was one of the other mums was there, did it. So it's like some things are tough. But luckily with boys, I suppose you don't take them to the ballet.
It's difficult. My son was into the environment. I used to have to take him to clean the park. It's like, but it's that hard thing. It's how we learn and where we learn. And if for us, I remember my father-in-law was gobsmacked that I would want to make dinner. I mean, I got into comedy more or less because the job I had that I loved, 3 12-hour shifts a week, it wasn't sustainable forever. And they wanted me to go and change my hours I was at home with my kids 4 days a week. So I thought, I've got to do something that means that I can be around them, be very hands-on with them. And it's just very, very difficult, I think, for society to grasp that. A lot of blokes, we want to be dads. I like it. I love it. That I was an arse before I was a dad. Or I was more of an arse.
Yeah. Do you know what I really appreciate up to today? When I've cooked a meal in the house and my sons like compliment me. So it's like to see when they were young, you cooked a meal for your family and they're eating it and the plate is clean. That to me was like, wow, I've done this. Yeah. Because I know if their mum was here, it would have been their mum. You know what I mean? I would have helped out, but it would have been their mum who was good giving them. And then they're eating it, or when they got older, they say, "Dad, are you cooking so and so?" Or if I was cooking a particular meal, they would say stuff like, "Oh yes, it's chicken or it's lamb or whatever." Certain dishes I know they liked. That for me was like the changing of finding the feminine within. And up to 2 days ago, I made fish, and I left it. I said to my son, the youngest one, I said, "Oh, he's 26 now. Oh, his food's in the kitchen," and it's gone from cleaning the plate and like really licking the lips, and he went to, "Dad, that was banging." It was for me. It was like it kept his machonism, but to know that they still enjoyed my food, Dad, that was banging. And a little feminine side, I was like, "Oh, thanks, Sam." It's going on my day. It's going on my evening. That's the beautiful thing.
If I just take a moment, there's quite a lot of chat in the chat box. A lot of people
very supportive of you, Quince. Really a lot of respect for what you're doing. None at all for you, Pete. Nothing. Not even your missus is going, he's a great man, right? She's even
No,
going,
she buggered off ages ago because of the reverb.
But it's that thing, isn't it, where we naturally get sympathy, we get empathy, whatever. Like Dawn's part of that, because me and Dawn have been friends for years. She never knew. She thought I was a minicab driver, or that I worked in a call centre, because I was always there to take the kids from school, and and was very hands on with them. But it's where do we go then for that support? So because it's got to be tough, and I think now it's got to be even tougher. Being locked up with little kids in your house, how hard would that be? How would you get through it? Like you say, Quincy, you had supportive family, but if you were physically in the house,
you can't depend on them now because you're not allowed to go to someone else's house. So it's very tough. I mean, there's a lot of pressure on people. There's a lot of stories at the moment about about people's mental health and domestic situations, but you just kind of have to try and push through it, don't you? And just try and schedule stuff as much as possible. That's also when you're looking after little kids, it's having a schedule of like you do this at this time. That you go to the park, come back, have your lunch, do this, do that, and you have a schedule that you stick to. So just reading the comments from Dawn there.
Dawn thought I was a stripper. What's going on? Can I just say though? I mean, as much as it's great, people go.
Put me right off my stride.
Pete was being all serious.
It's
all coming together, and he just burst out into laughter. So I was saying, taking us over. Oh my God, that's so funny!
But as nice as it is to hear people saying, like it's great dads. Like, there's a lot of women who are brilliant mums who don't get the support that we get, right? And they're raising kids on their own in the same situation, okay? But even now, society still seems to think that men don't naturally become dads. Like I always just presumed a woman had a baby and then they became maternal and knew what to do, right? So I remember when my eldest boy was born and he had a little lump appeared and we took him straight to the doctors within half an hour. They said he's got to have surgery in like 8 weeks' time. And he's like a 10-week-old, 12-week-old baby. And it was the worst experience of my life. And I couldn't even go to my mates. They're like, well, because anyone knows me, I'm always upbeat. I was really devastated by it. And I couldn't even say to like my best friends, like, my son's got to have surgery. They'd be like, oh, right, great, let's play FIFA. It's that kind of thing. And it's really, when I first met you, Quince, and I remember you matter-of-factly telling your story, and I was just like, oh my God, but you was just so matter-of-fact about it, like, yeah, it is what it is. No, and I think that kind of mentality is what you got to adopt, isn't it, really?
Yeah, I just, at the end of the day, sometimes as men, that's how I handle things. There were down times, but just got to get on with it. You know what I mean? Like I said, the biggest fight I had was from the families of trying to get my children back to can I have a chance? Can I raise them now, please? Is all right? Could you that was the biggest fight, but I understood it.
Did they go off to like sisters and stuff like that and go and live with?
Yeah, so weekends they went to their mum's family. So when I gigged weekend, they would go there, and then. But one thing I did do, wherever I gigged, I made sure, because my boys were a bit into the football, so I get what John was saying about the cabbie. Doesn't matter what part of the country I was in, I made sure I was there to my boys to play football. That's the one thing I made a pact that I was going to do. Yeah, because I was growing up. I mean, God rest my soul. My dad, he weren't having it. The ball was too big. If it weren't a cricket ball, he weren't having it. He weren't having it. So, and there were times I was good. You know what I mean? I wanted my dad to come. No, the rain, it call. I can't come out, it call. Ask to play the game in July. But
I always made sure I got my son to his little football team. It wasn't very good, but we used to go anyway.
No, but it was, as you know, Pete. It's like a bonding. It's not just the football. You deal with the other dads, And I used to go as well because a load of mums used to go. Like,
Well, it's an opportunity, isn't it?
Do you know what you're doing? Do you know what? You're not back again. So no, I used to go.
Oh, look at his little face.
Oh, look at his face, yeah. This is my
face.
son. Yeah, his mum's passed. Yeah, I'm single. So, it was a bonding thing. It was like drive back where I was. I mean, we've done gigs in Newcastle and Hyena. I used to get the first plane back. You know what I mean? And like a 2 hours sleep, but I wanted to see my boys play football so we could have that conversation back. You know what I mean? In that.
Oh, so it's a man conversation, isn't it? It's always something like me and my dad never really talked. Really, when my parents split up when I was very young, I was brought up by my mum. Didn't see a lot of my dad throughout my life. He didn't have a lot of influence in me when I was a kid. But the only other thing we ever really talked about was sport or football. Was always was something that linked to conversation. You know, it was always, so even if you weren't talking about your feelings and stuff, you were talking and you would say, oh, well, you know, well, my old man's an Arsenal fan. Funny enough, I know a song about that. So my old man's an Arsenal fan and I'm a Chelsea fan. But so we would have conversations about football and also Irish stuff as well. My dad's from Ireland, so we would talk about the GAA, which is the Gaelic Athletic stuff. You know, the hurling and football. Yeah, so it is. Great stuff. So that's that's always been there for men as a talking point, hasn't it? It crosses over generations. So it's like, so my dad will talk to my son about football and stuff as well now, and so there's always that kind of chat.
Yeah. But because I know that, so my dad was your typical bloke. He went to work. He wasn't that touchy-feely kind of. But he's a good man. He never hit us. He never.
Only softly.
Really shouted us. No, he did. Do you know what? He used to bore us. If you did something wrong, you'd be like, Mum would just give you a whack and done. My dad, you'd be like, oh, Lord help me. You broke the television. No, the television's broken and I've got to go buy another television. And the woman upstairs has a broken television as well. And she doesn't have a car, so she can't go to the shop to get the only television that she could have got, because I got the car and I got there quick to get the television. And now she's no television because you broke the television. My mum would say, stop talking to them. And then that was it done. Like, can we just take the hit? Mum would go, no, wait till your father comes home. Go, Mum, just give me the hit. I'll take the hit. I don't want the whole, well, you broke the door handle. No, there's no handle on the door. And I have to go to the shop and get a handle for the door. Like,
and I'm only after fixing it 2 days ago.
My dad used to get front. So if we'd done something dumb, and it was like we used to get the licks, like our generation, we used to get licks, but my dad he would say shit like, so explain to me why you think it's necessary to throw the potatoes over the balcony. I just want to know. Yeah, I mean,
why would you throw potatoes over the balcony? And you already told me the woman downstairs was Irish. I think your history of racially abusing the Irish goes back before tonight's
We've got issues here. We've got issues here, haven't we, Quince? We need to get out in the open.
So, yeah, mate. I need to start working.
As we've been expressive, yeah, it would do things like that, and then when we start, I don't know when it was psychology. It's like we were starting to explain. Well, there's no really reason because we're ignorant, and so you know why that I'm gonna get the belt for you. No, yeah, you know why you deserve. Yeah, we deserve the belt.
He's like an amateur barrister, isn't he?
But
in the dock.
My dad is classic. He said, why would you just pour the water on the floor and just walk off? I just want to know. Because I'm a teenager.
But see, that's where we learned. That's where we learned, I guess, a lot of our parenting skills. But like I said, where did they learn it, and where did they go for their support or their help? You know, I remember. My dad
my dad went to work.
Yeah, well, that's it. Never had time. He would not cope very well with, if someone died or whatever. He'd be devastated, but he wouldn't show it. He would just go off to his room.
Well, is this true that our parents' generation, and then if your parents, did they come from Ireland here, or was they here already?
They came from Ireland here.
All right, so our parents, like my dad, their parenting started it really just
kind of Victorian, I suppose, wasn't it? A Victorian upbringing.
Yeah, because they was just here. They met their wives and they were working, so there wasn't really any other elder men around them to really nurture those kind of ways how to raise or how to handle situations with the children. I know my dad didn't have, if his dad, you know what I mean. So and my mum had to learn on the job. So yeah, as you get older, you recognise. Oh, I understand why my dad was a certain way now. You know what I mean? At the time, you don't. You know what I mean? He's the biggest dickhead on the planet. You know what I mean? What, did I really need a headbutt for that?
It is, I think, as Pete's wife has
She's
said,
back.
we decided not to parent like our parents. Yes, she's here. Surprise! It is. It makes me wonder though. Then, where do we go for our support? Where do we go for for that backup? Where do we learn? I'm lucky. I've got some male friends. I mean, it's different talking to your missus about it. But Lenny's commenting, Darren is there. He's a good mate. Steve, people that you can talk to if you've got an issue, like.
Yeah, well, my brother-in-law was in a similar situation. He was actually in a situation where my sister was quite a high-powered career girl, and he was a stay-at-home dad. And he's a big fella, 6'2", used to be a bodybuilder or something, or weightlifter. So he's a big lump, and he'd kind of turn up with my niece at some nursery or something like that, and he'd stand out quite like a sore thumb, very much so. And was found it. He kind of struggled a bit, from what I understand. But my nieces are two lovely girls. Very well adjusted and everything, and they've got a lovely home life and came out the other side of it. It is a struggle because it's kind of going against what our society deems as like what's male, what's female roles. That's what Quincy's done such a great job doing it on his own now. Yes, you have. Go on, you have.
Hang on, Pete. I'm about to put a rug from under your carpet with one of the boys. Who did the boy play football with, Quince? Who was he playing football with?
No, both of them play football.
Or anyone in particular? They play for any notable teams? Say it. Pete's a Chelsea fan. Say it. Tell him. Let him find out.
My oldest son was at Tottenham.
Oh, Pete, where's your respect gone now, mate? He's a Chelsea fan going, well done!
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, when I
the moustache just curled up at the end.
It went, oh, do you know what's painful? It's like one of my neighbours is Paul Furlong.
Oh, yeah.
His son
Legend.
plays for West Brom now, but he played at Chelsea, and I both of them had a good chat with him, and he's a Spurs fan. It's like gutting, really? But you're a Chelsea legend.
Yeah, well, Jamie Carragher was an Everton fan.
Yeah, that's true.
You go where the money is, mate.
And John Terry's Man United, isn't he? We won't talk about him.
Yeah.
We won't talk about him. But you know what I'm looking for, right, from you guys is some tips on how to keep your head straight as a dad, as a parent. People out there listening as well. If you want to send me in some top tips on looking after your mental well-being and as a parent especially, is there anything that you guys do then when you kind of think you're going to, what do you do to stop your head exploding?
I talk. I will call someone now. I don't go down the stereotype of keeping quiet. I wouldn't express myself to a close one. You know what I mean? If I need to. Sometimes I might talk to the wrong people, but I need to. Like, Pete, if I had your number, I'll probably call you. Oi, Pete, I can't take it no more. It's just too mean.
No problem. I'm there for you, Quince.
No, I just think
he's saying he'll call you, but you're saying you'll call him. But Michelle, who I've been trying to get you to call for the last 2 weeks because she wants to interview you, she's actually listening to you right now.
We spoke.
You spoke to a different person.
No, we spoke, and she sounded we spoke. She sounded very interested.
Okay. She wants to do a little piece on you. Just a little piece on you.
We're gonna wrap it up. We're gonna wrap and converse.
Okay. Well, that's all good. That's all good to hear. Pete, so you got your brother-in-law who's in a similar situation, you said, with parenting?
Well, yeah, very different in that that my sister was the breadwinner and was out and working all hours. Also, they moved all over the country as well, which was difficult. They started in Bromley and then went to, I think, Hereford, and then went to Cambridge, and then went to Cirencester or something. They were just like kind of zigzagging around the country. So it's difficult, obviously, forming relationships, I should imagine, for Paul Allen's my brother-in-law. But then, of course, having to do that suddenly up to sticks and moving and doing it all again. So, despite that, I think he's done pretty well.
But it's just difficult. Do you think your way of coping then is a way that works, either of you?
Well, for the way I cope is screaming into a pillow. No, it's
screaming. Okay, if it works.
Things get on top of you. You talk to someone. You do get it off you. It's better to get it off your chest. Rather than just let it boil away at you, just poison you. But also, it depends what kind of demeanour you got. I'm a very kind of happy-go-lucky individual. I don't suffer, from many kind of dark moods or anything like that. Really, I'm kind of like painfully optimistic and cheerful all the time. I can't help it.
There was one time which me and my boys, we got into a big row, and it went left, and I had to walk out. And I was on the side of the road, sitting on the stall bit, and a guy I knew came up. He was walking home, and he came up to me. And I was just visibly upset. I was crying, and I just told him, and then he started telling me his story. He was going through the same thing, and I was like, "Look at that, yeah."
Well, you got empathy there. You're the perfect person to talk to.
Yeah.
Someone understands the situation perfectly.
Yeah, but it took it. I believe a higher being put us in that place, because you said to me that Quincy, I would never believe that you would go through that, or you would be, because I'm going through this and I've experienced this. And then it was two guys, masculine guys, having this conversation. And yeah, well, we knew each other, but we were totally oblivious to what was going on inside the house. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think talking is, yeah, I'm a talker, I'm a crier. If I'm frustrated, I will cry. Now it wasn't before, but I will cry.
Well, my family will tell you I'm a terrible blubber. Especially when watching a Disney movie or something. Never mind this Charlie Bronson look I'm rocking. It's
it's reverse psychology, isn't it, Pete?
Hey? Sorry, John?
Reverse psychology. You're trying to come across as look
hard as nails, but there'll actually be a wobbling jelly inside. That's how I go. That's how I manage my life. John, I was going to say to you about, I heard something on the radio this week. There was a fellow called Mo Gaudat. He's the CEO of Google X. They're the people who are trying to put like computers in space or something. I don't know. And he came up with a formula for happiness. It's an equation.
Formula for happiness is right. Yeah. His son died after an appendix went wrong.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, and it's
yeah.
And he says basically your happiness is equal or greater to the difference between the events of your life and your expectations of how your life should be. So
that's kind of deep.
It's pretty deep. And I was just kind of thinking, how do you make that a bit more simple? And apparently he says something like, if you're in London and you think, it might rain today, and it does rain today, you go, well, it's rained. And if it doesn't rain, you go, well, it hasn't rained. And it's managing the expectations, or maybe it's just like living your life with low expectations, and if you won't get disappointed.
He turned his grief into a math equation.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
And this kid, and also he's phenomenally rich, just like mental rich. Like he's an Egyptian.
That sounds like some Mr. Frost Batman shit. It's like when I said that his wife died and puts her in a deep freeze and tries to keep her alive.
See, my thing is, right, I've always had this. I struggle to see things from other people's points of view, right? I've always had this problem. So if we're looking at a piece of paper, you're seeing that, I'm seeing that, right? We're seeing the same thing, but from different perspectives. So, like, someone go, well, the truth is, it's a lovely day. It's 90 degrees. I don't like the heat. For me, it's not a lovely day. My truth is your fact plus my judgment, right? So I therefore live my life by this. Is almost like a guiding principle. So if someone says to me, you can't do it, my thing is, no, you can't do it. That's your truth. But my truth is, I can do anything if I want to, and if I put my mind to it. And I think that's what got me through and gets me through life, really. Where and it's not like that kind of American sort of like, hey, you know, a stranger's just a friend you haven't met yet. It's not that at all. It's that whole thing of I look at people and within about 10 seconds I decide whether or not I like them, and I'm never wrong. And I've never been wrong. And I've got the confidence in my Occam's razor, or whatever you want to call my gut feeling, to know that, yes, this is a good person. I'm going to be friends with this person. Yes, this is an opportunity. I'm going to take this opportunity. And then when I was a dad, I thought, yeah, I'm going to be a dad. Because lots of my friends thought, this guy's going to be a rubbish dad, mate. But I was determined to make a go of it and to give it and still try to give it my best shot. Difference is now, though, obviously my kids are now in their 20s. So my attitude to them is, you go and live your life with the skills that you were given, and let me kind of almost sit back and watch you flourish. You know, not be one of them parachute parents standing next to you going, no, don't do that, do that, don't do that, do that, don't do that, do that. So it can come across as uncaring.
Chris Eubank Jr.
Hey. Yes.
Yeah, Chris Eubank
He's
Jr.
my man.
Yeah, he's as much as he's a great boxer, but I think that he was one of the reasons why his son didn't reach the pinnacles of what he could have done, because of that. As you just mentioned, John, not letting his son flourish. And I think I get it to a point. Let me ask you guys a question. Do you find yourself sometimes being over frustrated when your children haven't reached the point where they should do in their lives? Like, I struggle with that with my sons sometimes. They do things, and I say at this point, but then I've had to say to myself, am I thinking like that because I wasn't there? And we all want our children to better us. You understand what I'm saying? And so it's like, I want my children to be at the stage I was at their age to better me and not be on the same paths.
Yes and no. I mean, my ultimate hope for my children is that they're happy. Ultimately, you know, like if my son isn't as successful as he could be, but he's happy, I think I'd be more pleased with that. The fact, you know, rather than I want him to be more successful than me. I don't know if that's what you're trying to say. You want your
when I say successful, not like financially. I just think that at a stage of their lives, they should be achieving this. That's and I'm understanding now. That is my expectation levels I have put on them. And like my eldest son schooled me one day, and he said, "Dad, times have changed. Times are different. You can't just implement your rule on us. It's like that football dad wanting on the side.
Oh God, it's awful."
Right, I was never that dad. But inside I was, but I recognised I had to really hold that down because I've seen too many boys crumble.
Yeah. Well, it's just horrible. It's also horrible seeing it. Just
Yeah.
you know, that's.
Yeah,
I think it's also they kind of trying to fulfill what you never were able to do or something. You know, and
Yeah.
screaming and yelling and shit. It's the kind of pushy parent thing. Do it for
Yeah.
mummy.
Yeah. So it's like I asked that question because financially I've never been good with money, and I've like watching history repeat itself with my own son. Sometimes my daughter's excellent with money. And it's like, no, but I have to say to myself, I keep on telling myself, I have to let them find out and learn, and figure it out themselves. But it's still, if I be honest, I'm frustrated. I'm wanting my sons to be living in a. Look, I'm 50 years old. I don't want to be in a house with my sons. Grown ass kids. You know, there's 3 grown ass men in here. So they should be in their own yard. But the reality is they're comfortable where they are. I've created that. So that's part of the frustration. I just want to know if it's new.
You're obviously too much fun to live with, Quince. That's what it is. Yeah, you're just an absolute dream. I mean, I want to move in.
I think it's difficult because my parents were not those kind of hands-on, touchy-feely, love you kind of parents, right? So like they never went to parents' evening and they never took an interest in anything that I did. But that doesn't make me, I don't feel resentful towards them. I just learned that I wouldn't get rewards for my achievement from them, right? So a little bit of my parenting is like that. I look at all 3 of mine and I love watching the journeys they make, the successes they have, the failures they have. And I'm honest with this, I don't feel that sense of disappointment. I feel that sometimes they could carry on the path they're on and flourish, but they take a different path. And then I think, well, on that different path, you'll go and flourish, right? But how I saw parenting was, my job was to get you to the starting line at 21, right? And all I wanted for my kids, it's like a mantra in my family: no babies, no drug problem, no drink problem, no criminal record, finish education. You go do what you want. Take heroin in your 20s and 30s if you want. Until you're 20, if you can get 21 without those getting that wrong, life is so much easier for you. And my nieces and nephews, I told it to. My godchildren, I've told it to. Some of them have listened and some haven't. But the thing is that when you're given that bundle on the day the child is born, that's not your child. That is, once it leaves the mother, for me, that's now an independent thing with its own life, its own agenda, and experiences that they'll have along the way will knock them off course or make them wobble, but they'll get back on course. I remember going to college, my mum took my keys off me, and I never had keys to her house again after that. I don't see that as neglect or bad parenting. It's just how it was. Just how it was.
What was the reason?
Because she's like, you don't live here anymore. Oh, okay. That's it. But not have, if you ever see my mother and I together, I idolize that woman, right? But there was no cuddly, touchy, I love you, come here, kind of, none of that. None of that, like when I went to university, her thing was, what do you want to go to university for? No one, when we were bred to be builders and to replicate this tradition of having kids and go to church on Sunday and that sort of thing. It's just how it was. And I think, to be honest, I think sometimes maybe my kids look at me like they're the parents in that. Why are you doing that? You could be doing that, But I like to think that the relationship I have with them is one, and this goes for all my kids, my stepkids as well, that they all are on their own paths with their own potential. But I never put expectations on them. So my oldest boy is very good at maths, but I never said to him, go and become a maths lecturer. My second boy is very, very musically talented, but I wouldn't go but my daughter's a great artist, but I'm not going to go and do, I'd say pursue what makes you happy.
You just have to be there to support them, John, don't you, really? That's you
exactly.
You're there, you don't put them down. It's like when I wanted to go into the film business, it's a difficult game to get into because you got to know people and you got to be a mate of someone or a nephew of someone or a son of someone to generally get a foothold in it. And I struggled to get in, but I got in there. And I remember my dad saying to me, "Oh, you'll never be a cameraman." And that was his kind of. He couldn't lose with that statement because if he's right, then he's right, and if he's wrong, I've proved him wrong. And it's like, so he can't lose, but I can't win in that situation. So it was that kind of. So what I've learned off that is that I'm not going to say that to my kids.
Sorry, I don't know that one.
Brilliant. You've not said that one before. You've probably got all these things you say all the time. No, Alexa, no, I don't know.
I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't know that one.
I used to write for an Irish newspaper, right? And my mum would get it every week, but wouldn't admit to getting it. But I knew she got it, right?
Oh, she read
And
your
then I remember she'd read my columns, yeah, but she'd never really owned up to it. So I went around the house one day, and she's like, "Come here, you sit down there." And I sat there. She goes, "Right, did you win a big award this week?" And I said, "Well, yeah." "Well, why didn't you tell me?" I said, "Well, I didn't think you'd be interested." And I didn't mean it in a nasty way. I'm like, I've got a plant in my shed. You don't care about that. So,
And when you recover from hospital, what happened after that?
No, I said to her, I didn't even mention it. Well, you should have told me I found out by reading about it in the paper, right? I found out by reading the paper. That's how I found out. I'm like, oh, I didn't think you'd be. Why did you think I'd be interested? I'm like, well, because
you've never shown any interest.
You've never shown an interest. That's not true. That's not true. That's wicked, right? She goes to my dad. "John, come in here." My dad comes in. "What? Did you know that he won a big award this week?" And my dad looked at me and went, "Oh, the kettle's broke." And he went back
Did you break the kettle? Our upstairs doesn't have a kettle.
I'm like, "Do you understand?" I'm going to my mum, but it's not his fault. It's just how. That's just how it was, mate. Do you know, my son would get like a tick on his homework. I'm like, "Yeah, let's have a cake." But it doesn't mean it's right or wrong. It's just that these things give you resilience. Yeah, they give you resilience and put you on the path that you are on. And it's just how then we've got to not make the mistakes they made and pass on those things. I like to think I've got kids who are open and expressive. But if not, is it because of them or is it because of how I brought them up? I've tried to bring them up around other good male role models, and I've kept them away from all my mates who are wrong uns.
I've just seen Juliet and Alexa's listening to the conversation.
And every now and again chiming in.
I reckon Pete's been shouting out some sexual moves and asking Alexa, and she's like, "I don't know that one.
I don't do that one."
No, another one.
Please remove your phone.
Alexa, we're gonna get handcuffs. So look, we're gonna start winding down.
That's
If
a
anyone's got
photo,
any,
Jack.
if anyone's got any top tips they want to share for well-being, how you guys cope with life, how you cope with getting through stuff, how you cope getting on with stuff, please just let us know before we go. Top tips.
I've got something I want to say. You know, during this whole lockdown, there's been something we need to realise is that lots of people now are eating their meals together and watching TV shows together and actually doing stuff together more than they would have done beforehand. Because that's something we always do here, is we always eat a meal together. Whether we're sitting watching Richard Osman's game of House of Games or something, or at the dinner table, it's always a good thing to sit and eat, and or sit and watch a TV show. And that's the one of the good things that's come out of this lockdown is that's happening to a lot more families now, and that's enough on the radio. And so it is important to communicate and appreciate everyone. Also appreciate everyone's personal space, which I have a plumbing story about that. Fixing a guy's shower. This shower is like 900 centimeters, 900 by 900, right? 90 centimeters squared.
So hang on, what is that? How big is that in terms of washing machine?
That's 3 foot by 3 foot, right?
So what, a washing machine and a half by a washing machine and a half?
Yeah, not even, and just in a shower cubicle, and I'm in there fixing it, and he's in there with me, right, looking over my shoulder
In the shower.
in the shower with me, trying to fix this thing, and I just kind of look. Is it like this? So I kind of like, excuse me, mate. Is there any chance you could just give me a little bit of space? You don't mind?
Did he go past the soap? Pass the soap, mate. Pass the shampoo.
Yeah. You dropped your soap.
Yeah.
That's what I really enjoyed about COVID is that people actually leave. They leave me alone now. Let me get on with some work.
Don't come in the shower with you no more.
Just don't come in the shower. You're gonna have to wait in the bath while I'm here.
Oh, that sounds like a Neil Diamond song, mate. You don't share my showers. I'll tell you.
Anymore.
Chris, what have you learned from lockdown, mate?
What have I learned from lockdown?
Apart from how to mute your microphone. and you can wear a vest and have no pride. Yeah, been out ass in like 9 months.
I had a shirt and tie on earlier. Charlotte said I was overdressed.
Come on, Chris, what you learn, mate? What's your thing? What are you taking from it?
Adapt. To adapt. To adapt. And yeah, that's basically what I feel that I've learned. And going back into shows and that, multitask. That's what I'll probably change. I've learned to multitask. I've been very tunnel vision. I've been very, very much within my comfort zone. And I think that within this year, I've learned to multitask. Multitask to adapt. That's the word I'm using.
I just well, to be honest, I've learned that my way of living is ideal for lockdown. Because to be honest, it's not been.
You don't like people.
I don't really like going out there. Do you know, I'm like the antisocial comedian. So, and
you haven't really noticed any difference. Is that it? Is that what you're saying? You just noticed.
I just spent a lot more time in the living room, I suppose. But the year up to lockdown, I did 69 flights.
Whoa!
And just crazy.
Yeah,
crazy. But
that's going to cost you a lot of money when you stay in those quarantine hotels,
mate. I tell you, I'm
2 weeks at a time.
I've been offered overseas work, right? And I'm not. I don't feel comfortable going there. I don't even feel comfortable about going back on stage, to be honest with you. Not because of any kind of anxiety or anything, just because I just don't. I don't know if I want to be around people. I mean, I can cope with this. It probably is just me. But I see a lot of comics. They get validation from an audience, right? Because they're like they've got nothing much going on, so they go on stage, you get laughter, and they confuse that with affection and adulation.
Yes.
Then when they come off stage, there's nothing to fill that gap. Whereas I only ever stepped on stage because I wanted to have time with the family, with the kids. Then once the kids grew up, now I'm like, I like to spend time with Natasha. I like to hang out in the garden, read a book, watch a film, go for a walk. I'm not old and dull and boring, but I just think I've never been one for the big car, the big lifestyle. So
you're content.
And when I used to have
who you are.
Big time. And when I don't have a manager, but when I had a manager, he used to pull his hair out. He'd go, right, I'm going to get you this audition. I'm like, I don't want to audition. I don't want to be. I was a comic not trying to get on 8 out of 10 cats. Or, sometimes people go, oh, you're very generous as a performer. You encourage people. Yeah, because I want them to go and be successful. And then it takes the spotlight off me, which goes back to that thing of not wanting to stand out as a child and not getting recognised for it. Does that make sense? So, if I don't gig again, I'll just make people laugh down at the garage when I get my petrol. It's not that thing on. You've got to have a microphone and a light. And I went to Singapore, right? A month after you went, Quincy, I went to Singapore, and people going, "Oh, you're brilliant!" And we're on the radio and we're on posters and we've been flown in, and oh, you're brilliant and you're funny, blah blah blah. And I was like, I'm just like you, mate. I'm no different to you. And one of the other comics said, you're going to spoil it for all of us because they think we're celebrities and you're carrying on like you're just some bloke.
How do you know you've been a month after me?
Because they were still talking about
Found
him.
your shirt.
I just gonna.
Oh, he was so big. He was big man. Very big, very big. Oh, he come back.
John, I hope you do some gigs because I enjoy coming to see you and having a beer afterwards.
Yeah, well,
It's usually pretty
mate,
savage.
I will. I'll just do that just for you and Charlotte.
Just for me. Just to come to my house and just do a gig. That's the idea.
Maybe we can have a shower together.
Yeah, you can come in the shower. I've noticed because I've worked all the way through this. Unlike, sorry, not bragging, but I'm knackered. what I really want some time off, which is an interesting thing that's happening this weekend. I'll go on to, but I've noticed with people are just so happy to see you when you're there, or they're terrified. So I've gone in and there's people, they're keeping the 2 meters, but it's like literally following me out to the van and then coming back in again at 2 meters distance. And they just want to be near you, just seeing another human being. It's not like anyone else in the house. And then you get the other types. You knock on the door and then you get a phone call and it says, hang on a second. And then the door unlocks and then you get another phone call. And then whilst they've hidden under the stairs, they say, you can come in now. And you go in and you just don't see anyone. And it's, there's people there, but you don't know where they are. They're just hidden away. They're so terrified of someone coming in the house. It's really, really like crazy out there.
And what are you doing this weekend? What's your big thing this weekend that you're?
So I wanted some time. I haven't had, obviously none of us have been on holiday or anything like that. And I like a holiday. I like a holiday. Yeah. And I like a holiday with activities. So I asked
your activities.
Holiday with activities, all inclusive.
Can I ask Quincy? People are wondering why you're looking at your genitals, mate. You keep looking there. What's going on?
You try to find it.
It's not that big. It ain't that big. What's that woman talking about?
You'll find it. Keep rummaging.
No, because I've got my show tomorrow, so I'm multitasking.
Oh.
Sorry.
Oh. Well, so what I asked my daughter and my wife to do was, can we let's have a weekend where we pretend we're on holiday. So what they've done is they've given me a timetable of activities that we're doing. I've taken Friday off. That's it. That's it. Everyone can go and do one. I don't care if it's leaking. I don't care what's happening. I'm just having time off. I need time off. And we're having and they've put together this itinerary of activities for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. If I'm going to go and get it, I'll read it out to you. It's really sweet and lovely. Here it is. This itinerary of stuff that we're doing. Activities. Friday morning, brunch, prawn toast brunch, and then 2 o'clock stroll up at the local kind of beauty spot. 3:30, we're having a painting competition, and then at 5 o'clock, my daughter's going to do a science show exhibition thing with a science kit. This should be fun. Fish and chip dinner, followed by 7:30 darts in the kitchen. Pictionary at 8:30, and then at 9 o'clock out in the back garden for a bonfire, bit of music, snacks, and a few drinks.
Sounds like a stag do.
It does, great, isn't it? Just get some of my mates round. And then Saturday and Sunday we've got a load of other stuff. And what's really nice on Sunday, what's quite funny, is that on the list here it says at 4:30 on Sunday, I've got a couple of hours to myself. John, what are you doing 4:30 on Sunday?
I'm going to be entertaining you. We're going to go for a walk.
No, we're going to be watching Chelsea Man U on the telly.
I'm not watching Chelsea Man U on the telly, mate. I don't watch football anymore.
That's what I'm doing.
So before we go,
I'm really excited. I've got this weekend ahead. It's like, but I can't go away. I can't do, go anywhere. I can't go to the coast. Can't do anything. So we're just doing this at home. It's just going to like a bunch of stuff.
That's great.
I asked them a couple of weeks ago if they'd do it, and they said they would, and they've organised it, and I'm really excited. Looking forward to it. That's my weekend. I've actually got a weekend that I'm doing stuff.
They'll give you a load of laxative on Friday night, so you got food poisoning. People are starting to leave us now. So, Quince, tell us about your show tomorrow night and how people can come watch it, listen to it on.
Yeah, so basically, it's this episode 5, Extra Time Friday, was based off my radio program. I had to apologise to Lenny. Couldn't make. He was coming on the radio show during the day, but I had to rearrange. So tomorrow, I've got guests. I call the show Graham Norton meets The Last Leg, but with seasoning.
Nice.
And spice.
Yeah, spice, yeah. So we have various guests on the show. So tomorrow on 9 p.m, if you search Stomping Pictures on YouTube and Facebook, I will have Patrick Hutchison.
What? Hang on, what do you mean stomping pictures? How do you spell that?
STOMPING Pictures.
Yep. Is it all one word?
All one word. That's on the YouTube and Facebook. Go on the page. You can watch it there. Live, Facebook and YouTube. So guest tomorrow will be Patrick Hutchison. He was the gentleman who's got one of probably the most iconic figures of last year. There's the black guy who saved.
Oh, he carried the EDL bloke out, didn't he?
Yeah. So he's.
Hang on.
Drunk copper.
Is that the
copper?
Is that
the drunk violent policeman who collapsed? Who got carried up by the young black lad?
Yeah.
the one over his shoulder?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The big guy.
Yeah.
It was like
the big guy with the martial arts gloves on. That one.
Yeah, him. Wait.
Ask him about the gloves.
What?
I just happened to be there, and I picked him up. My hands was cold.
John just got every black guy of a certain size.
I didn't notice that. I've got to look at that picture. I've got to look
Look it up. He's got his big gloves on. When I interviewed him, he went like,
"Oh,
so I was
an angel. What an angel!"
Oh, brilliant,
He
man.
probably knocked him out, then carried him out, did he?
Ask him about that tomorrow. He's a legend.
That's not the question. But that image is probably one of the most iconic images, definitely of last year. We went around the world, so he's on. So we're talking about that, his book and fitness. I've got a guy called Ian Burrell, who's the rum ambassador.
He's on Sunday brunch all the time, isn't he?
Yeah. So he's coming on our show tomorrow. We're talking about his brand of rum. So that's the plan. So I put it out there. We're gonna be poaching him from Sunday brunch. Yeah. And because one of the presenters is Chelsea, so we got him on.
Gallery.
And we've got Slim, comedian, who's got some good stuff.
Slim, very funny, man.
Yeah, he's a very, very funny guy.
Yes.
So
you know what's interesting about Slim? You have to ask him about this. Very, very funny comedian. One of the funniest comics you ever meet. But you put on the theme tune from Greece, he loses his mind, mate. He will dance his feet.
Well,
off.
mate, I'm up there with him. Listen, that film.
Ask him.
That
Bee
film,
Gees, mate. Sends him to a frenzy.
If it comes, I've got to stop what I'm doing. Greece is the one. It's the one.
It's the word. It's the word.
On a Greece note, me and the missus have decided we're going to get a puppy, and we put a deposit down on a miniature schnauzer, and we came up with a name for it as well. We're going to call it Rizzo.
Go. Rizzo, mate.
You know,
there's going to be a lot of puppies there. Yeah. Rizzo. Quincy, what time's your show tomorrow night on Facebook Live?
9 Facebook Live, YouTube Live, 9 p.m. every Friday.
I'll have to give the bonfire a skip then.
No, you can watch it anytime. It's on YouTube, watch it anytime, 9 p.m.
No, yeah, he's got a bonfire at 9 p.m. hasn't he? And then, and then your website is quincy.co.uk. Quincy the comedian. Yeah, Quincy the comedian.
Also, Quincy, give me a ring if you're feeling upset, mate. Just give me a ring. Yeah, I'm here.
I'll holler at you, mate. I'll definitely holler at you.
Or if you need a shower.
Yeah. I'll do the bitch garden.
Yeah, I'll be that. What's that film with the big black guy in jail and with word is my bond. I'll be that geezer. My word is my bond.
No idea.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Guys, listen, thank you so much for your time this evening. Really appreciate it, Quince. I like it, despite your best attempt to sabotage it.
No, I enjoyed it.
We got it sorted in the end.
Yeah, I apologise for that. It was I wasn't really thinking. My son must have. I'm gonna do a dad thing.
Yeah.
Fucking boy.
Blame the kids. Blame the kids. That's what they're there for.
I'll leave the room for 5 minutes and he's only going cocked his up.
Parenting. Blame them.
There you go. That's how it works. So, if you want to say good nights to everyone in the box, if you want to say good nights to Quincy and to Pete, I'll speak to you both soon. Thank you so much for your time tonight, Pete.
God bless you. Take care of yourself.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Cheers, guys. So that was eventually we got there. Sorry about the kind of the stuff at the top wasn't particularly brilliant, but there you go. Hopefully you've seen that two dads from very different life experiences. Quincy, whose partner passed away, raised two boys on his own. Pete, very supportive partner, raised two fantastic kids. But the thing they've got in common, both dads, both love being dads, like myself, like Lenny, like Nick, and the other guys in the box that are taking time to message. I really appreciate you guys coming along and listening tonight. I think if you've got any particular subjects that you want us to do next week or the week after, let me know during the week and I'll find guests that will talk about those subjects. What we're trying to do is get men to talk, because I believe men will talk once we're kind of safe and comfortable in that as well. And it's no way a reflection of their feelings towards women, but I think we get the guys talking and it's better for everyone, really. Have a great weekend. Do let me have your top tips. I'm collecting them all for a really good reason that I'll tell you all about, hopefully very soon. It's on Sunday, it's Rare Disease Awareness Day. So if you do get a chance to look at my Facebook page, I will be talking about friends of mine who have kids who've got rare diseases, but they're beautiful children, they're beautiful people. There's a lot of great people out there that I've kind of got the pleasure to have known over the years and hope to continue to do so. Keep doing what you're doing, guys. Lockdown will end soon. Rhiannon get their picnic ready. I'll get Tasha to heat up the hot tub. Lenny bring her on. Pete would just bring Charlotte. That's all we need. Everybody, have a really great weekend. Thank you so much. And hopefully I will see you again next Thursday at 9 p.m. Or in the meantime, just drop me a line. Let me know, like I say, anything at all that you want to talk about or anything else that's going on in your world. Tomorrow night, 9 o'clock, Facebook Live, Quincy's show. It is really good. It's really good. It's filmed professionally and all that as well. He doesn't have this crazy pink lighting. Thanks ever so much, guys. Take care. Speak soon.